Are sellers still paying for commission? Wouldn't we all like to know? Let's talk about it. As most of you know, and you've seen all over the news, that the NAR had a massive civil lawsuit and settlement earlier this year that resulted in many industry changes when it comes to purchasing residential real estate. Now, two major changes came from this settlement. Number one, commission is no longer allowed to be marketed anywhere on the MLS. That being said, it can be basically marketed anywhere else in the world. And number two, buyers will now be required to sign a buyer representation agreement, also known as a BRA, when it comes to buying a home and when you want to tour a property. Now let's clarify why this all happened with the fewest words possible that I can find. There was a seller in Missouri that was selling their home, and they had a very unfortunate experience with the cooperating side. They really didn't like the buyer's agent. They really felt like this agent had complicated the transaction, and it was not an enjoyable experience. Come to find out, that seller was unaware that the commission that they had agreed to was also being paid out to that buyer. And they were asking themselves, why am I paying this buyer? I didn't even like them, and I didn't even really get to choose them myself. So because of that one unfortunate experience, that is now essentially calling for sellers to ultimately decide how much their listing agent is worth, and they want buyers to ultimately decide how much their buyer's agent is worth, and it's going to be shown on two separate contracts. So in terms of compensation for your buyer's agent, will sellers continue to pay for it? Now, I want to make this very clear. Commission has always been and will continue to be negotiable between the agent and their client. Now, historically, sellers have never been obligated to pay the cooperating side. However, it's been pretty standard within our industry that by providing a commission to a buyer's agent, it acts as a marketing incentive for agents to bring their clients to your listing. So what we're going to see now, honestly, is buyers now, when they submit an offer, they will submit the residential purchase agreement, and they will now also be attaching an addendum, essentially asking for the seller to provide commission or a concession to their agent. Now, if you're a seller, you shouldn't just refuse to pay commission because you think it's going to save you some money. I think what you ultimately need to do is really understand how this will affect your sale. You have to keep in mind, buyers are already shoveling out a down payment. They're already shoveling out closing costs and any other additional moving fees. If you're going to require for them to now pay for their commission to their agent, realistically, they're going to have to shave it off of two places. They're going to have to shave it off your purchase price, or they're going to have to shave it off the down payment. Now, if they're taking it off the down payment, you now have to consider the potential consequences that is going to affect their loan qualification and how much they can ultimately afford when it comes to qualifying with their lender. They may now no longer be able to qualify up to the purchase price that they're offering you originally. And if that's something that you choose to refuse, you might start to see buyers now redirecting to other listings that will be offering those commissions for their agents. And if not, you're going to have a hard time negotiating, because I guarantee most buyers are now going to be asking for that commission as a condition to their offer. The media has a lot to say about these changes and how they will be affecting you as a buyer or a seller, and honestly, a lot of it is misinformation. With that being said, I know there are so many questions that are coming out of these new industry changes. If you have any questions as a buyer or a seller, then feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text. We'll set up a time to get together and chat. I want to be an open resource for you guys and to answer your questions with full transparency of what's happening in our market.